Hello my dear students, today a new topic we will discuss. Suppose we will talk about elements. We can classify elements as metals, non-metals and metalloids. Suppose I will ask some students what are metals and what are non-metals. They may say the physical properties of metals and non-metals. The basic chemical property which differentiate metal and non-metal. Suppose the correct answer of the question what are metals, that is metals are electropositive in nature. So electropositivity, what is electropositivity? The elements which can lose electron to become positively charged ion, that is electropositivity. That means all the elements, suppose all the metals elements which can lose electron to become electropositive in nature, that is electropositivity. And non-metals are electronegative in nature, that means the elements which can gain electrons to become electronegative in nature and negative ion, that is why it is known as electronegativity, electropositivity and electronegativity. This is the property which differentiate metals and non-metals. So today we will discuss about various physical properties. First of all, we will discuss about the various physical properties which differentiate metals and non-metals. First of all, most of the metals are solid in nature. There are some exceptions and most of the metals are solid in nature except mercury. Mercury is a liquid metal, you know that. And non-metals, it can be liquid, solid or gaseous in nature. So that you can differentiate, there is some exception. Then appearance, metals appears shiny and non-metals, that appearance may be dull, that is exception, that is diamond and iodine, which are the shiny non-metals. And malleability, ductility, these are the two properties. What is malleability and what is ductility? Malleability, which can make into thin sheet, that is malleable. Ductility, to make into wire, that is ductility. So metals are malleable and non-metals are brittle, non-malleable, and metals are ductile and non-metals are non-ductile. So this is the very important property. Now conductivity, metals are good conductor of heat and electricity and non-metals are poor conductor of heat and electricity except graphite. Here the exception is graphite, because you know that graphite is a very good conductor of electricity. Now density, generally high density, that means the density is very high for metals, except here there is an exception, lithium, sodium, potassium. So these are the metals even we can cut with a knife. Okay, so the density is lesser than metal, but these are metals. And non-metals, they have low density. So dear students, so these are the physical properties. On the basis of physical property, we can differentiate metals and non-metals. So here there are some exceptions. That is why I said previously, the basic difference of metals and non-metal. Metals are electropositive in nature and non-metals are electronegative in nature. So electropositivity and electronegativity is a basic difference between metals and chemical properties of metals. We can say that chemical nature. So in this video we will discuss about one or two chemical properties of metals. The other properties we will discuss in the following videos. So here, first of all, metal reacts with oxygen to form metal oxides. So here we can say that almost all metals combine with oxygen to form metal oxides. Why I am using the word almost? Because there are some exceptions here. One is gold, other one is platinum. You know that you love to wear gold and platinum ornaments. Why? Because it is a non-corrosive in nature and non-reactive with oxygen. So therefore we are going to use again and again, we can use for the long time the gold and platinum. So here the basic equation is metal react with oxygen to form metal oxide. Okay, so there are two examples are given here as a balanced chemical equation. Copper react with oxygen to form copper oxide, and aluminum reacts with oxygen to form aluminum oxide. So dear students, please carefully you can use these equations to balance. So first you write the unbalanced equation, then try to balance it. It is a practice for you. Okay. Next, metal oxides are basic in nature. The opposite one is acidic. Basic means not that basic, it's a base. So metal oxides, the character of the metal oxides are base. That is why we can say that it is basic in nature. So why? Because the metal oxide react with acid to form salt and water. You know that in the neutralization reaction, base react with acid to form salt and water. So here the metal oxides are basic in nature. These oxides become base. Okay, yes, but here I want to introduce one new word, amphoteric oxides. So the question is, what are amphoteric oxides? So these are the metal oxides. You know that metal oxides are basic in nature, but some metal oxides like aluminum oxide and zinc oxides, they have both acidic as well as basic in nature. That means they have, sometimes they will act as a acid and sometimes they act as a base. So here I try to explain you, with the help of balanced chemical equations. So here aluminum oxide reacts with HCl, that is hydrochloric acid, to form aluminum chlorate and water. So here the aluminum oxide behaves like a base, okay, because base react with acid to form salt and water. At the same time, aluminum oxide react with base to form salt and water. So here the base is sodium hydroxide. Here the aluminum oxide acts as a acid. Sodium aluminate is a salt. Okay. So therefore aluminum oxide and zinc oxide are known as amphoteric oxides because they can show both acidic as well as basic in nature. Okay. Now alkalis. What are alkalis? Most metal oxides are insoluble in water. Solubility, you know that can dissolve, the word dissolve. But some metal oxides dissolved in water to form alkalis. Example, sodium oxide and potassium oxide become sodium hydroxide and potassium hydroxide, which is a base. So now the reactivity, the reaction of the metal with oxygen is different. All the reactivity is not same. See here the metals like potassium and sodium, so they react vigorously with oxygen. Vigorously means very quickly, violently you can say. So they catch fire, it will kept in open air. So therefore we have to keep the sodium and potassium in kerosene oil, not even water, because they even vigorously react with water also. So these are very highly reactive metal, potassium and sodium. So therefore that is one more question I said, why we have to keep the potassium and sodium in laboratory also we have to keep in kerosene oil, because they are very highly reactive metals and they react vigorously with oxygen as well as in water. Okay. And some metals like magnesium, aluminum, zinc, lead, they react, but even in the ordinary temperature. Okay. But iron do not react, but iron fillings, if you sprinkle iron fillings in fire, it will burn. Okay. So this way the reaction of metal, reactivity series, it is an arrangement of metals on the basis of the reaction of metals with water or oxygen. So here we can see that the potassium in the top, potassium, sodium, you know that these metals are highly reactive, we discussed already. So on the basis of reactivity, we can arrange. In the top there is potassium, in the bottom we can see gold and platinum. Okay, I already told you gold and platinum, they do not react with water as well as oxygen. So the arrangement of metals on the basis of reactivity, that is reactivity series. So in this video, this much only. In the next video, we will discuss about other properties, other chemical properties of metal. Till then, bye bye. Thank you.